Okay, here we are in lesson 2.1 of chapter 2. So let's get started. We're going to be learning, well, you can see in all of chapter 2, we're going to be graphing linear equations and writing equations in slope-intercept form. So 2.1, graphing linear equations. Our key idea over here, blank is an equation whose graph is a line. That's a linear equation. And the points on the line are what we call the solutions of that equation. So every point on this line, even the ones that aren't highlighted in black, right? Anything touching that line would be a solution to the equation they gave. And one way that we, find solutions or calculate them is to use a table. We call it an XY table, and these become then the ordered pairs. The input values are the X, the output values are the Y. Another key idea in this lesson is the horizontal and vertical lines. So horizontal lines are just that, horizontal. They are parallel to the x-axis. The vertical lines are then parallel to the y-axis. An example of, let me get the pen here. An example of a horizontal line would be, say, y is equal to 3. That's it. You won't see x at all in a horizontal line equation. Over here in the vertical line, an example of a vertical line, you would see, say, x is equal to 2 or something like that. I'm not sure where that is. I'm just guessing. But no y at all, right? Because it's not even going to cross the y-axis. This horizontal line will never cross the x-axis. All right, here we go. So in a textbook example that you had, if you had to graph this equation, we'd make a table of values. We'd start and pick some values of x. So this is where you get to be creative. I always tell students, pick values that are close to the origin, right? Because we don't want to be graphing large values. We don't want to pick the first number to be 10, right? Then we have to draw a graph that has 10 for an input value. So I always pick like -101, and the only reason why I wouldn't is if I have a fractional coefficient for x. But you can see that when you pick the input value, you're just literally going to substitute that in and then calculate or solve for y. So input, output, here's your ordered pair. Input, output, here's your ordered pair. And then these become the values then that get graphed on the line. So I won't spend a lot of time on that. We can just move on. So let's give this a try. I will start with different colors. So we'll start with blue. Why not? Let's start with blue. Number 1, y is equal to 3x. So I'll make a little table of value. I'll label it number 1. If I have x and y, you can make an elaborate table like they did in the example where you put the actual equation part in the middle to show all your work. Sometimes it's easier right off the bat. This is a pretty easy one. It's just multiplication. Again, if I want to do 2 points is really all you need. I'm just going to go ahead and show 3. And they're very close to the origin. Again, keeping it close to the origin so it's easy to graph. So if I put in a -1 times 3 is -3. 0 times 3 is 0, and 1 times 3 is 3. I could then graph these as ordered pair. -1, -3 would be about right here. 0, 0, oops, and 1 would be here. The trick then is to draw the straight line on paper. You can use a ruler. I cannot. All right, so that was problem number 1. Problem number 2, right here. I'll make another table over here for problem number 2, x and y, and here's where we want to be a little more selective. I could use 1 and -1, but notice that I have a denominator of 2. Anytime I have a fractional coefficient here for x, it would be so much better if I could clear the fraction, and by clearing the fraction, I use multiples of the denominator. I'm going to go ahead and use 2, but I could use 4, I could use 6, I could use 8, anything that would clear that fraction. So I'll just go ahead and use -2, 0, and 2. So just to kind of show you, like -1/2 times 2 plus 2. So that's just me substituting in, I guess I should put it the negative first. We'll start with that. Negative 2. So a negative times a negative is going to be a positive. The 2's will cancel. I will have 1 plus 2, and my output would be 3. Okay? If I input a 0, the entire first term disappears, right? Anything times 0 is 0. So then I have plus 2. And then if I put in a positive 2, this first term, then the 2's would cancel, and I would have negative 1 plus 2. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So I can graph negative 2 and a positive 3, 0 and 2, and 2 and 1. So this would be my second line. Again, rulers are your friend in this chapter. All right, that was number 2. So we have 2 graphs, different colors. If you want to use different colors on your paper, or if you at least label them, you could refer back to and know which ones they are. For 3 and 4, I don't necessarily have to use a table, because here x is equal to negative 4, and if you recall, that's that vertical line. Every value is going to be negative 4 on x. It's going to have an x of negative 4, right? So any place on negative 4, you could just graph a couple, 2, 3, and you're basically just going to draw a vertical line here. That's number 3. Okay. For number 4, y is negative 1.5. This is the horizontal line. So we go down 1.5. It's going to be halfway between 1 and 2. This is very difficult to do. I like precision in this, really, because that does not look very precise to me. In fact, I have to erase it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just have to. I can't. All right, let's try again. 1.5. Let's try to get that a little bit better in the middle there. Yeah, that's a thing. It's one of those things about math, precision really makes a difference. Oh. Well, okay, pretend it's straight. Oh, so sorry. Again, rulers are your friend. I apologize that I don't have the technology to make that straight. That's a straight horizontal line in your imagination. Okay, so there's 4 examples of graphing right there. And we may show on a graphing calculator, but I know you'll be using that more in high school. All right. I'm not going to play this video again. If we need to in class, we can. So we're ready for the vocabulary and concept check. So go ahead and select which one you are doing, and then put in and give me as much information as you can and identify which problem you are doing. All right, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. Thank you.